there's data that at least 2 to 3 times the number of people that trade stocks in Romania trade cryptocurrency, right? So this is a pervasive thing. Some of that is more surveilled than others, fits in under MiCA in different ways. Some of that's probably just used for payments. But this is a large thing that needs to be dealt with already, right? So to some extent, we're talking about building up competence going forward, but these are not systems that are going to come into existence. These are systems that exist, are used widely. Talked about the investigation center. We've spoken to a number of people who actively have been doing investigations in this space for years. They have tools, they have procedures, they have laws. There are things they would like to change on the tooling side. There are things that they would like help with on the education and training side. There are things they'd like to work with on the legal side, which is a different podcast. But so that this is an evolving space where people are trying to understand, the innovators, the product developer side, the law enforcement side, the regulator side, the end user side. All of these things are moving forward. And these are often already pervasively used tools. So increasing competence and bringing the sort of level of rigor and understanding across the spectrum of public and private relevant parties to these things up to the level it needs to be is very important for this to work smoothly going forward.
So an investigation center, on the one hand, could reinforce the educational capabilities of law enforcement, right? Because they know. I remember in Romania in the 90s and 2000s, we had all transition societies, a whole training sessions with our partners, right? For judges, for prosecutors, the beginnings of what we would call financial cross-border crime, right? And in a way, it's a new revolution right now. Not necessarily the fourth industrial revolution in terms of finance necessarily, but we are faced right now in a way with the revolution, and we have to manage it, right? So this is what this investigation center would be so relevant.
Increasing connectivity, increasing use of technology, pervasive access to all kinds of technology. Jet travel allowed people to go from place to place in a way that they never could before. And we now see electronic interactions, financial interactions, social interactions, media interactions, far more pervasively connected around the world. This is a specific variation of that. Crypto assets is one thing. We're not talking about improving training for an understanding of every possible digital facility. There's many versions of these problems that need to be addressed. This is a specific one that's grown quickly and is something that connects to existing structures, but in ways where people have to build the right adapters. So training is a wonderful example of, we kind of know how to deal with this area. You mentioned lawyers, judges, whatever historically. Those are things where the framework is kind of understood, but you have to map people onto how you're going to do this if it's a new process. So that's exactly what we're looking at building here, a facility for training people up, teaching people, and then having a center of sort of excellence and competence for dealing with investigations, analyzing
could be also a regional hub. Was it designed to be a regional hub? If you're looking at the long term, of course, every partnership, has a kickoff year and everybody's excited and want to do more things. But if you're looking at the long term, what would be some expectations?
When we start all our project, we think we can become like a regional partner because first partner is Moldova. And when we think a project in this area to training, and I want to complete Jonathan, we can train people theoretical, but if we don't possibility to go in the field to catch all the tips about this, everything. It's like I want to play football and theoretically I know everything, but I'm not using the balls.
Of course.
In the same area. Yes, we want to become regional. I think we can cover this. We have a lot of very good connection with neighborhood because first target is neighborhood. Moldova, I tell you, and Ukraine. Why not? Because they have a lot of problem using this part of crypto asset in this
sanctions
wartime. Yes, because of sanction. But we have Bulgaria, and we have a very good relation. We signed a new agreement during the Digital Investment Fund with another hub from Bulgaria. In Hungary and Turkey, we want cover this area because first we go to the very short distance to be easy in 1 hour by flight going to Bucharest, to Sofia, to Tirana, to Istanbul, to Chisinau. It's easy. And we discuss about technology. Everything can made online and have just some session for training face to face. Yes, we think not just regional, maybe global, because
Singapore is global.
Singapore is global.
What about
Yeah.
Singapore long-term perspectives for
So-
Romania, for the hub, for the region?
I mean, it's very interesting. Historically, the attitude towards these problems has been a bit different. East Asia, Western Europe, North America, developing countries, different areas have different views. Southeast Asia, there are policy priorities. Things are moving forward. We deal with people in various directions there. It's interesting here to see because I guess the MICA framework and the EU imposed shared whatever regulatory oversight of things gives more firm rules that apply to a much bigger space. So people have, I guess, less flexibility in what the rules are in the limit, but a lot more flexibility in how to manage things themselves. We talk about things in Southeast Asia. The rules in different countries are quite different. They evolve in their own way. That's fine. And those are reasonable sized economies, but it's not the same thing as trying to understand how am I going to operate within the European Union on a large set of rules that I have to interpret and then interchange information with other parts of this operation. So it's interesting to get the feedback on how what tools are available to people map onto what they need to do in their everyday life.
Yep.
This is an issue all over the world, right? And it's going to be a long process of people understanding the stakeholders in this area care about these issues. Here they care about these issues. How can we manage these things together? And you get feedback from those same organizations, how well they can communicate with each other. We've spoken to people in Romania that have had to interact with far afield regulators while doing investigative work, and different requirements, different rules, different standards. This is the way the world works. You're going to do online interactions. You're going to have these types of issues routinely. But developing something that sort of expands out and brings in a broader and broader perspective as the overall level of understanding goes up, that's always been the solution to these problems. So that's the solution we pursue to these problems.
Yeah, we want to create this bridge because it's a different traditions, a different mentality, different kind of learning about this, and a different kind of using technology and using the tools in this area for blockchain intelligence. Because
So this is what would make this PPP special.
Yes.
In different, so.
It's not a innovative idea, blockchain intelligence, because was business intelligence, was intelligence for
Political
intelligence
intelligence,
for
of course.
security, a lot. It's just to use big data and create from this value, and value become money.
Of course, and value will come anyway. I mean, I've been doing a lot of traveling in the past years, and I was shocked to see the flexibility on other markets, right? So right now in Africa, because they lack other, for example, in Sub-Saharan Africa, because they lack like broadband infrastructure, sometimes they're so mobile, and they do crypto and they do other things, right? And so on. So perhaps for them, it's not, security is not that much of an issue for the moment, because sometimes it's survival mostly and remittances, and it's not big sums. But in the future, it may become an issue, and you never really know when the future becomes present, right? So,
Excuse me, take in consideration, Europe, it's older and become older. Africa is very young. People are native digital because if they are very poor, they have a phone, a smartphone.
of course, this is their connectivity
it's-
moment to the world,
Yes,
right?
it's mandatory. You look people in the middle of the forest using the phone, and this is the reason are different abroad.
I mean, all of these parts of the world are now quite well connected, right, physically and digitally. And yeah, different areas are in different stages of development, have different problems. We started this bit of conversation about the long-term plans for this partnership. The ultimate long-term plan is to have a platform that supports all of those levels of development and gets everybody to a good spot. The idea that we're going to have 200 different countries worth of stakeholders involved in a single collaboration is super long-term version of the answer, I suppose. But that's the way a lot of this stuff is going. MICA is a European Union structure-specific harmonization of these rules. Going forward, there clearly will be other international multilateral forums for coordinating some of these types of oversight procedures, and then we'll grow into that. We train into that. People who are in and out of different parts of that space, you learn how to operate those rules as they build up. People in West Africa using mobile phones in rural environments are still part of that same financial system. And they've always been part of the world economy in some sense, but connections were a lot weaker in the past. They're a lot tighter now. And building up a infrastructure for learning and developing better tools that can admit new members as they come up and expand the space of what's kind of in scope for making things better. That's how you improve the operation of government, private sector, public sector, everything. That's always been the story.